Greetings and salutations, everybody, or should I say, every pony, and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. Today's topic of discussion is going to be one that I personally am rather excited to talk about, a topic of which I hold very near and dear to my heart, for it may or may not have something to do with one of my absolute favorite things of all time. That thing in question being My Little Freaking Pony. More specifically, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. The show ran for nearly 9 years exactly, having aired on October 10th, 2010, all the way up to October 12th, 2019. And in all honesty, I find it to be rather cool, actually, that it managed to air its final episode around the same day that it aired 9 years prior. And while I would love to go on and on and on about the show and all the things I love about it and so much stuff regarding it as a whole, this is sadly not the time or the place for that. I know, absolute bummer. However, instead, we're going to be talking about a particular aspect of the show, aka a background pony that some of you may know as Derpy Hooves, also known by some as Muffins or Ditsy Doo. Now, let me put down some background for those of you who are unaware of who this character is. So, Derpy Hooves first appeared in Season 1, Episode 1 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, as just this random background character with a noticeably, considered to be at the time anyway, derpy expression on her face, which managed to quickly captivate many upon many a individual. And so her popularity would gradually soar into the heavens through various memes, pieces of merchandise, and other social media and content fueled and created by the community. And it would not take very long for Hasbro to catch wind of this and begin to give this pony, now known as Derpy, more meaningful, impactful, and prominent roles throughout the show. However, things would take a rather concerning turn for the character Derpy Hooves, if you will, after an episode titled The Last Roundup had aired for everybody to see, which contained what would be not only Derpy's most prominent role up to that point, but also her first ever actual speaking role. Now, how she was originally portrayed in the episode, upon its initial airing, was considered by some to be somewhat offensive, if you will, resulting in Hasbro going back and editing and tweaking the episode a little bit to essentially appease those who were initially offended by her original portrayal, which would subsequently upset a lot of people within the My Little Pony community, more specifically the majority who took absolutely zero offense to her original portrayal, resulting in this whole fiasco that a lot of people like to refer to as Derpy Gate. Now, I can personally recall the whole Derpy Gate situation rather clearly myself. However, I was more of a bystander and observer to the whole thing that didn't really contribute all that much to the situation when it was fresh and actually happening. I do remember it making me feel really sad though, and bad for Derpy. However, as time went on, Hasbro would gradually begin to give Derpy more love again, thus bringing what had infamously become known as Derpy Gate to a close. Now, there is a lot more to the situation than that, but this is not the time or the place to really delve into all the nitty-gritty details of that. So if you're at all interested, I highly recommend that you go out and do your own research on the subject matter. Now, me personally, I've never seen Derpy as this controversial or offensive character that some others have made her out to be, in really any way, shape, or form. Now, that's not to say I can't see how someone else can get easily offended by how she's commonly portrayed, and I am in no way, shape, or form trying to invalidate how they feel, much less why they feel the way that they feel and think the way that they think. I'm just saying I'm one of the many people who genuinely doesn't care. I mean, in all honesty, I personally think that the way that she's portrayed actually makes her more unique and subsequently cooler. In my personal opinion, that is. In fact, I even have some pieces of merch of her. I know for a fact I have the Derpy Build-A-Bear plush that came out when Build-A-Bear was still selling and releasing My Little Pony characters back in the day. And believe me, you have no idea just how positively stoked I was upon finding out that they had released a Derpy Build-A-Bear plushie, and how equally pleased I was to have obtained her. Now let us shift gears for a sizzling hot second, and perhaps touch upon the art piece of which you see me doing in this video. So back in the grand old year of 2016, yours truly would produce this art piece that I dubbed Vappy Derpy, a combination of the words vibrant and happy, featuring the character Derpy Hooves. Now fast forward, roughly 8 years later, and I'm just looking through my old drawings to see if there's any that I feel like redoing. And after some consideration, I ultimately decided to redraw this piece. And honestly, I think the big reason why I wanted to recreate this one drawing in particular is mainly because I just want to incorporate more My Little Pony and pony related content in my portfolio. Because as previously mentioned, My Little Pony is one of my absolute favorite things of all time. And I really do want to be able to showcase that and incorporate that in my artistic portfolio more so than I do now. Because honestly, despite how much I love My Little Pony, I don't draw it nearly as often as I did when I was younger, and the show was still being made and was still like at its peak and all this other jazzaroony. However, that is something I would very much like to change. And now, I can sense this video's end drawing near, and with that, I do hope you absolutely enjoyed our time together. And if you did, please consider coming back sometime. Until then, auf Wiedersehen, ciao for now, my lovelies, and I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.